All right, 97.7 Outlaw Radio FM listeners, you already know what time it is, and we have a very special guest, one of my favorite MCs to ever grace the hip-hop community. We have Grammy Award-winning, multi-platinum, multi-award-winning, one-third of the iconic Naughty by Nature. We got Treach right here, live on the line. How are you doing this evening?
Dun, dun, dun. Breaking news, the homie is in the building. If it's not in the States, do you know what I call it?
What's that?
Passport pimping.
I gotta say, it definitely is some passport pimping, man. You already know, down here in Canada, we love Treach and, of course, Naughty by Nature.
Oh, man, we love y'all too, man. One of our biggest markets outside of the United States since 91. Canada, like, I'm talking back, like, you know, Peter Jackson and you know, like our family and like before Drake and everything. But then, you know, when Drake came, we was like, we knew from back then, Cardinal Official, we like Canada got heat.
I gotta say, I definitely agree with that, especially even going back in the day as well, like Maestro Fresh West, like...
Yeah.
We have so many legendary artists down
Coming
here.
out in the 90s, yo, we was like, yo, man, Canada is so much hip-hop culture, and we seen it, like, just from their scene, not just the coming to the concerts and everything else, but, like, you know, when we travel, they have opening acts, so we always come and see the opening acts and stuff, you know what I mean? Because we hip-hop, we love to see that. We know when we were there, like, and knew we had something and wish that, you know, somebody the status would see us, man. But Canada, man, we love you, and you know, man, it's just a beautiful thing to be on a radio station out here to talk to my people after years right now.
And also, Treach, I do know you're a very busy individual, so I'm going to get right into this, but I want to take you back, man, to the very beginning of your guys' careers, man, on December 5th of 1989, where the new style, now known as, of course, Naughty by Nature, actually released the album titled Independent Leaders. From what you actually can recall, can you tell our listeners a story behind this first group project, and, of course, what ultimately made you guys decide to undergo a name change after just one album?
Well, basically in the 80s, what it was, that was a subsidiary of the legendary Sugar Hill Records label. Now, so when we came on, I mean, it wasn't like we had a lot of promotional dollars to, you know, even promote the project. So, you know, if anything goes to tell in the industry back in the days, you had to at least, usually you get a budget, which we didn't, you know. Usually you get, you know, a promotional, you know, budget. We did. But we didn't know the business at the time. We basically signed a deal with no lawyer even looking at it. You know, so it was a great thing that we learned from that experience. So by the time we came out in 91 and signed with Tommy Boy, we knew the business. Like, if you want to get anything done right, you better have the correct attorneys looking after your business. Now, not saying a criminal attorney, you don't go to a criminal attorney you have to go to a music attorney. You feel me? It's like if you go to for a business attorney that knows music and films, like in my case, from films, and I have to have lawyers that know that particularly and are astute at all aspects of that. So, I mean, this is the only game you could get robbed with a pen and a piece of paper. You feel me? You can sign your life away. And you see so many artists that comes up and like, yo, I'm trying to get out of my contract. Some of these artists have some lifetime contracts. And you feel me? That they could never get off. So you always want to have a music attorney or somebody that comes and look after you. So we didn't have that with New Style. The blessing after that, we had left the situation and just started because they owned the name New Style, and New Style sounded so dated in the 80s. So we said, we coming out in the 90s, this is the late 80s, we got to have a whole different name, whole different swag, everything. So doing New Style, we signed with Flavor Unit Management, was Queen Latifah, hats off, and Sharp Kemp. So when we got on the management, we knew it was no longer the 80s. We were going into the 90s, so New Style sounded dated. So we came up with the name Naughty by Nature, and the rest was like history.
And also as well, like your guys' style drastically changed as well from the first to the second album as well. You know, you guys really took on the Naughty by Nature vibe like very early on as well.
Yeah, you got to realize we did the New Style project in the mid '80s towards the late '80s. So by the time we got signed to Flavor Unit, we had all that New Style album and that whole New Style type of theology was out the window. We were like, yo, it's a whole new era. And we, you know, if you see us from the New Style single cover, album covers, independent leaders to the Naughty by Nature, it's like after we had lost that deal and like this scene, we basically had a shelf sitter. That's when we went full-fledged into hustling. This was before Flavor Unit and everything. So you see the change on how we look, because we was real grimy with that naughty, because it was after the 80s. There was no hot top fades. The fades turned to braids. You feel what I'm saying? The Gucci shoes turned to Timberlands. You know what I mean? The suede suits turned to Dickie suits. And it was like on the block, on the grind. So our whole mentality had changed. And the only thing that saved us was signing the Flavor Unit, because we knew we couldn't hustle anymore. Queen Latifah, like, we couldn't change her name or Flavor Unit name, because she was like the queen and she was really doing things, you know, by the book. So we had to make a decision: are we gonna stay on the streets, or we gonna go full-fledged this legal eagle route? Because in the industry, if you see certain things going on now in the industry, we know for decades, like, you can't mix the business with the hustle, the street hustle, because we definitely targets already in hip-hop, but they definitely come at you hard if they see you doing anything wrong.
And also as well, November 26th of 1991, Naughty by Nature actually released the second single from the self-titled album titled Everything's Gonna Be Alright, which is also known as Ghetto Bastard. I was wondering if you can actually tell our listeners the story behind this song. And of course, did you guys think it was going to be as big as it was when it first came out? Because that song really helped a lot of people through a lot of difficult times.
Yeah, nah, we never, listen to this, we had to fight the label. Tommy Boy, we love Tommy Boy, but we truly had to fight them to do that song because they wanted another OTP. You feel me? They thinking dollars instead of, like, we thinking it's our story, how we want to put out. We like, yo, we putting out good music. It don't have to be a party record for people to party to it. You feel me? It ain't got to be a party record for people to listen to it. It don't have to be the same concept. We not coming out with another OPP. We could come out with another party record, but we want to give a message to the people as well. So the original title was Ghetto Bastard. And, you know, radio, we couldn't label it that because they, you know, with censorship, they couldn't play it or whatever else. You know, so we had to switch it. So we like, yo, the hook says everything going to be all right. You can't get more positive than that. So we'll rename it, Everything's Going to Be All Right. On the album, it's Ghetto Bastard, but for the radios, everything's going to be all right. So we had to fight to the teeth. I'm talking about fight. Like, yo, we ain't putting nothing else out. We ain't putting nothing out. Y'all put this song out and just watch. We know what we talking about. Like, you understand? We got another simple song right now that's about to come out with this movie I got called Juice. So we got Uptown Anthem coming. That's a party record. Yo, we not coming out all party, all this. We a diverse group. So with a whole lot of arm twisting and everything else and going back and forth, they like, all right, we do it. They got the budget for the video, all that. We did the video. And so many people, they was waiting for that next party song. When it came out, they threw them for a loop because it was like a story of no matter whether you rich or poor, you're going through something. Whether you're in the burbs or in the ghetto, you're going through something. And a lot of times we see now mental health, the suicide rates all over. A lot of times the people, even through the music, they don't never hear everything's going to be all right. They don't hear people they look up to telling them that. So they always self-destruct in one form or the other. And when the record came out, the label was just blown off their feet, because not just nationally, internationally, Canada, Australia, or Africa, man, every continent, this record was blowing up, and they was like, yo, who is this? They like, that's Naughty by Nature. Back then, people ain't even know Naughty by Nature. Like, that's OPP? They thought the group was OPP. That record was so big. So when that came out, and then the movie Juice came out, and then we had Uptown Anthem. So we had like 3 records bubbling at the same time in '91. It was like having a dream team on the court. Nobody could beat it.
And when you said a few moments ago about how the label wanted you to have another OPP, honestly, in my honest opinion, I don't think there could ever be another OPP, because that song was so unique and so phenomenal. Like, of course, you guys had legendary party records, but as for another OPP, I think that would be very hard.
No, not per se like another OPP record, but another party anthem. Like, with that same, catchy phrase, boom. But they didn't know. Like, one thing, Method Man from Wu-Tang Clan, he made a nickname up for me. He said, man, you Captain Hook. You could make a hook out of anything, yo. You got stadium anthems. So they didn't know, like, even though it's not the cliche OPP, Hip Hop Array type of record, even though Hip Hop Array was the album after, that's another story, because they said they'll never make a record bigger than OPP. Then the next album, Hip Hop Array, came out, first single, and it quadrupled everything OPP done. You feel me? So we was getting slept on through all the success we had. So then they be like, why artists be stressing? Why they be, they so successful and everything else? You got the labels and the this, that, and the other telling you you're not as good as you are. But every time you come, you outdo yourself. After the second album, they had to really bow down to us and see we was really the truth.
And even the third album, Poverty's Paradise, you guys actually had another phenomenal hit, Feel Me Flow, as well.
Yeah. I mean, after Feel Me Flow, Jamboree, let's put it like this. Every album that was dropped from Icon to album Anthem Inc., that's what we was, Anthem Inc. We make anthems. Like, it was never questioned. Anytime you heard something from Naughty, it was going to be a banger, one way or the other.
And speaking of Poverty's Paradise, in '95, you guys actually were nominated for 2 separate Grammys, where you guys actually won the award for Best Rap Album. From what you actually can recall of that night, I was wondering if you can actually just tell our listeners a story behind that eventful night at the Grammys. And of course, what was it like just being up there for accepting that prestigious award? Because I do know you guys were the very first individuals to ever win in that category.
All right, let me tell you the conundrum of what happened that night. On such a joyous night, that was just, I mean, for the culture, I felt was so disrespectful. We couldn't even go on stage at that stage and receive our awards. We had to receive it backstage because hip-hop wasn't even considered real music. So we didn't never go on stage and accept the award. We went back to a ceremony. They said, you won. We said, oh, we did? And we had to get our shit mailed to us.
There wasn't like any choice at all. You couldn't be like, hey, can we just go out there and give a speech? Like, it was flat out like,
no. That was nigga music in their eyes. Like, it wasn't even worthy of being noticed on stage at all. Facts. Go back and look. Everything is Googleable. The truth is Googleable. Nowadays, you could pull up, there was no Google, no nothing. It would have been probably outraged, like, hold on. How is the first hip-hop group to win this can't even go on stage and receive their awards? Because it wasn't considered music.
I gotta say, that is absolute blasphemy, in my honest opinion.
Huh?
I gotta say, that is absolute blasphemy in my honest opinion. You guys definitely deserve to go out there, because that was a history-making moment, not for the Grammys, but for hip-hop itself.
Exactly. And it wasn't even like the Grammys ever called us back and said, let's do this right. Like, let's really get y'all on stage and give it to y'all on stage so you can thank your mothers, your family, your crew, your label, your management, everybody that helped you out. We never got an opportunity. And then all the records we made after that, I guess we made a little fuss of it. We never got another Grammy after that. With all them hits for 10 years. Word up.
How long did it take you guys to actually get the Grammys mailed to you? Like, was it a couple weeks, or did you guys have to wait months to get your trophies?
Nah, we really didn't care. We was on the road always. So by the time we got home, whether it was like 6 months, 3 months, a year, our Grammys was there. You know, we didn't have to ask for them.
And also, as well, in the year 95, Naughty by Nature actually had the opportunity to work with Michael Jackson on his song Scream for the Naughty main mix. I was wondering, from what you actually can recall, can you tell us a bit more about that? And of course, what was it like just being able to collaborate with the one and only Michael Jackson?
Man, it's crazy. First of all, shout out Heavy D. Rest in peace. Heavy D had a song with Michael Jackson called Jam. If you remember, he had that with Michael Jordan, Michael Jackson. It was him. And they did the video Jam, and we was in that video Jam. So that's where, when we negotiated that whole project and that idea. But I'll tell you one thing. Before I even met Michael, I'll tell you, Bubbles pulled up. And Bubbles, you know, Bubbles was the monkey.
I remember about his monkey, yeah.
Bubbles pulled up in like a double law Rolls Royce with broads, and he was dressed better than me. I said, I gotta step my game up. Bubbles is dripping more than I said. You know what? These Dickie suits might have to go out the window. I might have to really start spending some of this money on other than chains and locks off the gate. Hold up. Did Bubbles come up in here with broads and a double R and jewels and got paparazzi taking pictures? I gotta step my game up. Bubbles made me. Then I met Michael, and Michael said that song's the shit. Yo, when Michael said he knew the song, because you know they had to clear the sample. Yo, when he said he knew my song, when Michael Jackson said he knew OPP, and he saw, and then just saying lyrics and get down with OPP and singing a hook, I said, I made it. I said, homie, Michael Jackson knows me. There is no room for haters in my life. Nobody could get me down ever. Michael Jackson, I'm here with Michael Jackson. And my son, before he could say, my son, he's 16, he's 15 now. But when he was younger, he couldn't say Michael Jackson. He's like, that's Mac and Jackson. I said, you damn right. That's Mac and Jackson.
I could only imagine, though, Treach, just being in your shoes and actually hearing Michael Jackson with that amazing voice of his, just actually singing the chorus of OPP, man. I would get, like, shivers right down my spine.
You can't even put it together when you have a legend like that knows you, and you doing something for the world to know you, but those that you grew up to in the world know you. Like, you don't have to receive any awards from anybody. I received an award that nobody can get. Like, nobody could collect. There's not even an award show for the accolades of artists that I have, Whitney Houston and Prince and Michael Jackson, that I've come across and done things with. Like, it's like, those are the awards that's better than people giving you accolades. Like, sometimes you'll run into people in your everyday life like, yo, this is somebody really respected, everything else. Like, that's what you got to take away certain things. Don't look for the big award like you might think you should get. God has a plan, and it's all going to come when it's supposed to, or sometimes it's greater later.
And also, as well, on February 14th of 1995, you were actually featured on a South Central Cartel's song titled "No Peace" alongside Ann Banks, of course, the Cartel, Spice One, and tons of others. That was actually featured on the Murder Squad Nationwide album. I was wondering if you can actually tell our listeners the story behind that collaboration, and of course, what was it like just actually working alongside the SCC?
Nah, man. I mean, South Central Cartel is like when we came out in '91. Hip hop was so embracing. Like this before the so-called East Coast West Coast beef or whatever else. It was like hip hop was like you could go to Miami, you hanging out with Two Live Crew. You feel me? You could go to Houston, you hanging out with the Ghetto Boys. You could go to Cali, you hanging out with South Central Cartel, Coolio. You know what I mean? Tone Loc. You hanging out Tupac, the Death Row. Like you go to Oak Town, you hanging out with Too Short, E40, and then Mac Dre. You feel me? You go all over. Like you hanging with a different class of just hip hop royalty all over the globe. You feel me? New York, you hanging with everybody that's hitting at the time. In the '90s, it was before artists was, you know, getting into things where it is like where it is now. It's like they say hip hop is like the most dangerous occupation you could have because there's more people in hip hop getting murdered and killed than any other occupation in the world.
And I gotta say, honestly, it's very, very tragic actually just to know, because like, just how like with everything going on in the world, it's sad to actually see a lot of these young hip hop artists going so young. It seems to be all over the tabloids nowadays, unfortunately.
Yeah, I mean, like I thought it really was after Pac and Big. I thought it'd be like artists really like, nah, this can't happen again. But it's not the artists, you know. The street element comes into the culture, and then when the culture comes into the music, it's like certain times, certain entities just happen like that. It's just I look at all the new artists like they're my nieces and nephews. No matter what set they claiming or anything else, it's just like you really want to jeopardize all the success you getting and got just to lose it, just for what, like a reputation, or just to say you as hard as you are in your records. Like, I mean, we are, and the worst thing now is like they really trying to charge artists for what they say in records, which is like it's impossible to even fathom, because if that's the case, like with movies, I do movies acting, you gotta lock me up for everybody I caught. I done murdered a lot of people in these movies. So you're going to say through my art, you're going to lock me up for everybody I killed on the film? No, you can't do that, because the artists they not telling, the majority of the artists is not telling their own personal stories, of course, because they all be locked up. But those that mix it with that, they see you are not going to last long doing that. Period. These boys is not playing. Y'all is out here. There's cameras everywhere. For one, you are really incriminating yourself by putting anything that you're really doing on there. You could always tell a story, and it should never be like your lyrics will be tied to anything criminal, because you are telling a story. Period.
And also, and also as well, on April 27th of '99, you guys actually released 1999. That was actually the only album released on Arista Records. I was wondering if you can actually tell us a bit more about this iconic project, and of course, why wasn't there ever a follow-up album on that particular record label?
Well, basically, it was a great look and favor from Clive Davis at Arista. We had ended our deal with Tommy Boy. At the time, it was almost a decade, and basically, you know, Clive wasn't a master of like hip hop and stuff, you know, but he had so much confidence and just love for Naughty. He did a one album deal. And he said, you know, I really don't do hip hop like that or this or that or boom boom and a lot, but I'm working on all this R&B. I could get you on. Like, he had me on shit with, like, Whitney Houston and Monica and all, you know, and did way above and beyond what he had to do, and gave us a deal, like a one-album deal. And that one Arista project with Clive Davis' signature on it opened so many doors. Like, we're forever grateful. Forever. Because he didn't have to do it. He wasn't beat to do nothing. He was like, yo, I really love Naughty by Nature. And Queen Latifah's coming in and Bow and, you know, different people like, yo, just put something behind it. It was like a platinum album, and it was, we did what we had to do. He basically really ain't make no money off of what he spent on promoting it. You feel me? Now, if the one album deal, if it would have made him quadruple his money, of course it would have been the second one. But, you know, in the hip-hop game as well, it comes to a change of guard and a younger ear that's out there, which is our youngsters is out there, and they had the hip-hop always changed the sound. It ain't like country music. You could just come out and Dolly Parton, you could pull out an album 30 years later and they like it's still hot because it's still the same vibe. Nah, hip-hop switches up. Every 5 to 10 years, you're going to get a whole different sound. And it's going to be bomb, but it's going to be a different ear listening to you. The masses is going to be different. It's always going to be the younger demographics. You know what I mean? For the new hip-hop that's coming out, as it should. That's like saying Drake should never come out as a new artist because he's a new artist. Like, no. It's like every genre has a different group of hot hit makers, and you gotta respect them for coming in and keeping the culture alive.
And I also found as well that actually 1999 actually had such a very unique sound. It was actually, I always found it was kind of a more mature Naughty by Nature from the previous album, Poverty's Paradise. It was phenomenal. I still play that stuff I still play that record in my car like I just bought it at Music World yesterday. But I really love the direction and the sound of that particular project.
Yeah, you know, like with anybody, you switch through the times, and like I said, when you come out, it's all the younger ear wants to keep it. Let's keep it 100. They want to hear more ignorance, more wildness on what. But for us to be the artists we were, we showed the advancement of where we were. You know what I mean? We wasn't still in that form where we're going to give you 80% street thug music. We're going to give you more 60% of positive outlook, 40% going to be that boom bat. And, you know, if they don't like the certain, you know, singles you put out at the time, that's their choice. But you ain't mad at the culture. You deal with it and you roll with it, and you still like one thing. Still today, still touring worldwide, sold out venues. So, and our demographics is everybody from 25 years old to 60 years old. You feel me? In the stadiums, because their parents raised them off of the music they listening to now. So they listen to the new music and the classics. So when we see all those demographics up in there, it's like the best feeling in the world.
And before we move off the topic of this legendary album, one of my favorite songs that you guys actually did was actually "We Could Do It," which actually is featuring the late great Big Pun. And this is one of the questions I've always wanted to ask you. What was it like just actually being able to work alongside Big Pun? Because I thought that song was so monumental because you are such a phenomenal MC, and same with Big Pun. That album is just filled with absolute bars.
Yeah, man, it was crazy because back then it was really, you couldn't just come out and just have a dope beat or a catchy hook. You had 3 different 16 bars on one record, right? So those, in the days, it's like you have to have lyrics. You got to be saying something. You really have to come across. So Pun was such a phenomenon. Like, I couldn't even believe, like, You gotta realize, Pun is like 300 pounds. He's sitting on a stool, and he's spitting this like he's like 100 pounds and running around and standing up and everything else. We can do it in the middle of the night, y'all. We can do it in the middle of the park, y'all. We can do it in the middle of the Italy. Yo, and he's doing, and he starts kicking his rook, and you like, hold on. He's 300 pounds. He's sitting in this chair, halfway his leg off everything else. He took a breath through one of these verses, and he's like, "Yeah, let me do it again. I don't like it." And we just taking every verse he do because we like, "You don't like it?" Well, we do. He like, I don't sound like me. He's like, let's do it again. Let's do it again. So he did like 4, 5, 6 different times, and he said, "All right, y'all listen to the best one and send it to me and let me hear it." And then we mixed it and everything else, put his on, the mine's on, everything else. He was like, You know, we even had that's amazing. Oh, my God. Yeah, oh, my God. When we was talking about the video and all that, and then, you know, other things happened, and we never got a chance to do that, but, like, those are just amazing culture snaps. It's just like, it's all worth it. Like when you see like the talent we work with at the time, and then the talent that we see nowadays, and that's out there, and the culture still going on. It's amazing. It's amazing.
And also, as well, speaking of just like culture and whatnot, you guys actually made another history-making moment, and on June 11th of 2011, where Naughty by Nature actually became the very first hip-hop group to actually perform at the legendary Fenway Park out there in Boston, Massachusetts, where you guys actually performed a hip-hop parade. I was wondering if you can tell our listeners a bit more about this groundbreaking night, and of course, just making hip-hop history.
Nah, man, we had to shout out New Kids on the Block. Our blockheads, man, worldwide. We had a real tight relationship with them, and it's like we were just on tour. They set it up. They were performing. It actually was like a monsoon. It was raining and everything. I'm talking about now one person left, and us, especially me as a Yankees fan, let's go Yankees! For me to be able to walk in that arena and rock the crowd, and they not even do nothing but party with us, and not boo us out of the whole state, was showing you how great the relationship with, as far as us, and like I said, everywhere you go, hip hop, like, it saves so many lives and everything else, because people that would have never had met, white, black, Hispanic, it don't matter what country you from, anything else, what state. A lot of people would have never been in the same venue to even meet and have fun and party together. It's like, it's hard to kill somebody, you know what I mean, wild out when you break bread with somebody. Like, so hip-hop has done that ever since the beginning of hip-hop, you know what I mean, where we could go, the Canada artists who come to the U.S. and be some of the biggest artists. You can have artists come from overseas, and over here, we go from here to overseas. It's like, that shows you it's so much bigger than anybody's egos or anybody's racism or anybody's, you know, hating on the culture. It's like showing you, like, no matter what, this music thing is really a portal of connecting everybody.
And also, aside from actually being a hip-hop MC, you are also a well-established actor that's obviously has been going back since the early 90s, since you actually acted in Juice. I was wondering, can you actually tell us what actually made you decide to jump and, of course, become an actor within the entertainment industry?
I mean, that wasn't even my choice. Latifah had it planned out for me. Shakim on Flavor Unit, they was like, you're going to do more than music. Now, we had some movie roles and everything else you got to prepare for and go in a movie for. And that was it. Like, you're not going to just be a rapper. Rappers, in the early 90s, rappers' careers were very short. It was very short. Like, you had to do more than that. man, we gonna teach you how to be a businessman as well, a business owner, but you have a great energy and character, and people will attract to you. You need to get into this movement.
And one thing I have to ask, because obviously you have done so many legendary roles, from like the big screen to like straight to the streaming services, and of course television as well. Has there ever been any roles that you actually got offered where you kind of sat back and was like, I don't want to do this, and actually declined it?
No, not actually. Well, once I always told my agents, my acting agent, I said I don't want to play a rapper. I mean, I felt like I would not be showing any skills if I'm playing a rapper. It's like I am a rapper. Like, come on, this. And then Sopranos had called me. And they said, we're looking for a rapper. I said, when? Said Sopranos. Said when? And I actually played a rapper that was a booty ass rapper too. He wanted to fake getting shot to get his deal, because the other rapper was Lord Jamar from Brand Nubians, and he had got shot. He blew up. So I paid one of the Sopranos mobsters to shoot me in the ass, and he was a booty character, but I was like, on The Sopranos, I'll play a rapper and a booty rap.
I'm not gonna lie, I don't blame you. The Sopranos was like the biggest thing in the mid 2000s on television. Like that is what really made HBO blow.
I wasn't gonna miss that.
And I gotta say as well, speaking of TV, man, the actual one show that I really enjoyed you in was actually Third Watch, where you actually played Vernon, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
If you don't mind me asking, what was it like just actually just doing that role? Because I got to say, it was a phenomenal two-parter episodes.
No, the thing is, like, the best thing is just acting is totally different than, performing on stage in front of a crowd, anything else. It's amazing when you could actually be a whole different character than anything you are. You know what I mean? That's what makes them call you back. Just to be a whole different character and get into there and make the people that's watching believe everything you're saying and believe you are that character, to me, that's magic. You feel what I'm saying? It's like it's different than performing on stage. That's me. The records I make, that's me. Like, when I'm a character, that's somebody I don't even know. But I make you think that's me. You feel me? So, Third Watch, Oz, Sopranos, New York Undercover. I'm talking about, like, I got almost 50 now movie and TV credits out of 32 years. So that's an average of more than almost two a year major that kept it active.
And speaking of one of those movie credits, I do know we're jumping quite a bit ahead in the timeline here, but this year in 2022, you actually starred in a movie titled Lord of the Streets that is actually currently streaming on Tubi right now as we speak. For the listeners that might not have had the opportunity to see this movie, I was wondering if you can actually tell us a bit more about it, and of course, what was it like just actually working alongside Rampage Jackson and Anderson Silva?
Man, it's crazy, yo, because if you know who you're talking about, those are MMA, UFC type fighters I had to do a movie with. I got my ass kicked the whole movie. Let me just tell you that from the door. You know, they dig what I'm saying? I got so many tattoos and stuff and everything else. I have to do a lot of my own stunts. I didn't try to be no Tom Cruise. I got talked into the project, and it was a beautiful thing. It was a beautiful thing. It's a story about a dude that was a UFC fighter. He is MMA fighter. He ends up killing somebody in the ring by accident, and he retires. He never fights again, and he gets deep. He fights demons because he killed somebody, and he can't get over that. So he gets deep into drinking and gambling. So long story short, he gets into a gambling debt with Rampage in the movie, who is the kingpin, and he owes them money. So he has to do basically death bouts, fighting bouts with his team to get out of the debt. And it's like everybody that fights, they fight to the death. So it's a real drama-fied, real live fighting, and real live fighters in there, real live people that's doing stunts and all that. So when you see the movie, you like, hold on. People giving it mad accolades, but yeah, just for all my haters, just know I got my ass kicked that whole movie, so y'all can watch it and feel good.
I'm going to be 100% honest, man, and I'm not just saying this because I got the man himself live on my radio station, but I thoroughly enjoyed that movie, man. The one part that upset me is when your protege, and if anyone's listening, turn the volume down for 5 seconds, when he actually got shot and killed, man. That right there, Bob.
Alert. Go ahead, turn it down. Go ahead, they turned it down. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, like, one thing that upset me is actually when your protege in the movie actually got killed, and they actually made you have to go in the ring and do those death bouts, man.
Yeah, I mean it's part of what it do. You gotta have certain movies that comes where when you watch it, you don't know what's really going on. You fall in love with certain characters that actually die. That you like, nah, they can't die. It can't be like that. But you know that would make great movies.
And also, currently, right now, I actually saw via your Instagram that you were actually currently filming a new season of Carl Weber's The Family Business in L.A. From what you are currently allowed to speak about, what can our listeners actually expect from this up-and-coming season, and, of course, your character in the show?
It's going to be a lot of more drug deals. It's going to be a lot of murders. There's going to be a lot of new characters. There's going to be a lot of old characters get took out, and that's all I could say. And you got to keep watching. Every season of Revolving Door, you don't know who's going to make it or not because it's just a family business. BET Plus. Dun, 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 breaking news.
And also as well, going back to the music here just for a moment, I've had that since once I started advertising that I was having you on the radio station, I had so many individuals actually ask me to ask you this question, and I honestly feel that it pretty much is a great question because I've always wondered the same thing. Do you have any plans to actually do a solo project? And of course, like, who would you want to have on your solo project if you do indeed are actually planning it?
Yeah, we got some things going on right now. You could come and check out at Treach Tribe on IG. I got this thing called the Legions Alliance. That's a gang of classic MCs from the 80s and 90s that I just called up and said, we doing Legends of Legends, and we just putting this whole thing down on all the legends that I had props for and loved and wanted to give. So Legends of Legends is coming. Outlaw by Nature is coming. Noble from the Outlaws. So you know the Outlaws was with Tupac. Nephew called me up and was like, yo, we need to do something together. So we started this EP called Outlaw by Nature. So that's coming out. And I have solo stuff and everything else coming, but one thing you got to look out for is this song I got that's streaming on all platforms, getting released tonight with KRS-One, Sadat X from Brand Nubians and myself, and it's called Free Paper Burn. Free Paper Burn. And it's going to be on all streaming platforms, not tonight, but the first thing tomorrow. And it's one of the hardest hip-hop records I've ever done in my life. And it was done with two artists that came out before me. You feel me? Brand Nubians, KRS-One, Boogie Down Productions came out before Naughty by Nature.
And I gotta say, whenever that song does drop tonight at midnight, I will actually make sure I purchase myself the copy and actually add it in the station.
You're gonna see it at Treach Tribe. I'm going to release the cover and then let y'all know, go get it. It's one of the hardest records I've ever done. ever, like ever. It's so KRS-One, the Dot X, and Treach, Free Paper Burn, and all streaming networks. I could say ASAP Rocky. You know, ASAP Rocky, one of them. ASAP Rocky, like, tonight, y'all be able to go on all streaming networks and get that record called Free Paper Burn, KRS-One, Trigger Treach, the Dot X. Ooh-wee.
And also, I do know we just spoke about what is next for you, like the single that's dropping tonight at midnight, the Young Noble project you got going on, and of course the whole collaboration with all the old school artists.
I gotta look at the #1 smash comedy series on Hulu right now called This Fool. I'm on that.
And also, as well, aside from everything, is there anything else
you got Michael Imperial from Sopranos on there, the #1 comedy series on Hulu right now called This Fool.
I gotta say, I definitely have to check that one out myself. Unfortunately, there's no Hulu down here in Canada, but I'm pretty sure I can find a way.
You can stream it ASAP. Yeah.
But also, Treach, I do know recently you just actually got back on social media, because I do notice you just got back on Instagram after a long hiatus. Is Instagram the only social...
5 years. I got hacked, and I had... people was telling me I had to get back on it, so I got back on it.
Aside from Instagram, is there any other actually social media platforms that you're currently on? And if so, how can our listeners actually follow you?
Nah, get on me on IG, then I'm going to let you know on that Twitter, because I got hacked for shit, and I was, like, really turned off by social media, the trollers and everything else, and, you know, I was attacking certain trollers, and I can't do that no more. I had to get right with my mind to let it know it's on promotional and love, so I had to leave it alone, but I'm back. I'm grown. It's like if you get a car that has 7,000 horsepower, you got to be mature enough to drive it right. You feel me? So that's how I take social media. I had to be mature enough to handle it. I don't even look at comments. So if you be like, yo, I commented and you ain't comment back, nah. I know that ain't for me, because anybody that come after me too much times, I'm going to come back at you, and that ain't where I'm at with it. You feel me? I'm there to promote stuff, get love, let everybody know what I'm doing, handle everything else. Oh, breaking news. I got a bomb for you. Ooh, I got something nobody know. I got something nobody know right now.
Most definitely.
Now,
you have the airwaves.
All right, let me tell you. I'm doing this play right now. It's called New Jack City. Y'all remember the movie New Jack City?
Classic movie.
All right, I'm playing Nino Brown. Alan Payne is playing G Money. We got a 3-month play that's going across the country in the U.S. New Jack City live. Dun, dun, dun. Breaking news. Real actor alert. 3 whole months out there doing New Jack City. Now, it's 30 years after now. If you've seen in the movie, Nino Brown, he got shot and killed in the courthouse, right? He really didn't die. This is the way the play goes. The play goes 30 years later, like, after he did his time and came out, and he back to open up the Carter.
Is this actually the first time you ever actually did live acting in front of an audience, or have you done that previously?
Nah. I did there. I've been doing there. I've been in the game 30 years, homie. Homie, ain't none that's new to me, homie. No. That's what I do. I put you down. This is not my first theater gig.
I gotta say, I definitely gotta make myself a trip across the border. If you actually hit up New York State, yeah. I gotta be there.
I'm gonna send you some of the dates and anything else. It's for 3 months, so it's going across the country from the East Coast to the West Coast, called New Jack City Live.
And also, Treach, quickly before we actually just part ways, man, I just want to give you your props, man, and just say thank you so much for years of monumental music, man. You know, I always say if there was no Naughty by Nature, there would really be no DJ Immortal, man. So thank you so much for just the music that you actually made for so many years, because I know it definitely helped me through a lot of difficult times, and millions upon millions of your fans as well. So on behalf of myself and them, thank you, man.
Love you, Immortal, yo. Can't wait to get to Canada, yo. You gonna take me out there, take me to the spot. If it wasn't for Immortal, hip-hop wouldn't be as large out there in Canada, I'll tell you that much.
I gotta say, the recognition right there, man, definitely means a lot, especially coming from one of the best MCs to ever grace the hip-hop community, man. Treach, I appreciate you, man.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for your time, and hopefully down the line we can make this happen again sometime soon. But for now, I will definitely see you live on the television screen very, very soon.
Very, very soon. Love y'all. Get at Treach Tribe on IG, yo. I'm going to let y'all know everything going on. And put your hats off for my DJ Immortal right there, one of the greatest up there in Canada. My guy.
I appreciate you, Treach. Thank you so much. Definitely have yourself a wonderful night.
All right. You too, bro.